This summer, two friends and I created a really special floral experience here in Provence. We had the idea to offer a creative floral retreat with floral-inspired workshops, floral banquets and good vibes around the pool. And we couldn't be prouder of how amazing it was. This video is a snippet into my natural dye workshop and the sweet retreat vibes we created. Might take me a little minute. So normally when I do a workshop we do just the silk, but recently I've been adding another thing on there so that people get the experience of trying different patterns, or maybe they want to try a different dye plant to have a different colour. But today we're going to do three things. Might be crazy. We're going to do a tote bag, a silk, and then you can choose either a pair of socks or a silk scrunchie. I'm not sure I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 silk scrunchies, so I hope all of you don't want silk scrunchies. And I've got some socks in different sizes, so everybody should have some instructions that actually we're not really going to follow the instructions. They're just there for you when you go home, or if you need to check something or you want to verify something. They're kind of the basic getting started natural dye instructions for bundle dyeing, which is the technique we're going to do today. And you know, a little bit of text about how to mordant and how to prepare your fabric, because we're not doing that today. All the fabric's been prepared already, because it's like another thing. You should all have another bottle of flower essence from my friend Flower Spirit. Some cute things that she makes. So they're kind of like, do you know Fleur de Bac?
Yes, flower remedies.
Yeah, so they're kind of like that. As I said, I've prepared all the fabric already. In natural dyes, I know that some of you may have a little bit of experience with natural dyes. I think you probably do a tiny bit as well. Nothing.
I studied at school.
Okay, so in general there are two types of fabric that will work with natural dyes, and they are plant and animal fabrics. Their names are protein fibres and cellulose fibres. So for example, the silk that we've got here is a protein fibre. So protein fibre is anything that comes from an animal. So wool would be a protein fibre, hair, because I'm an animal. And a cellulose fibre is anything that comes from a plant. So cotton, linen, bamboo. Normally you wouldn't use natural dyes with synthetic fabrics because they don't attach, with the exception of nylon, which I haven't tried except by accident, and I dyed some plastic buttons on a skirt, so they must have been nylon buttons, and they took the natural dyes amazingly well. I don't really know the science behind the fact that nylon takes natural dyes, and it's not something I really want to explore because I prefer to work with natural fibres and keeping everything natural. I'm going to just kind of go quickly over the preparation and the kind of how you would prepare your fabric to take the dyes. It's like the most boring bit, but and it seems complicated, but once you play around with it and experiment, it becomes quite clear how to use it. And all the notes are in the instructions there if you need some support. So when you're dyeing fabric, this would be true with synthetic dyes as well, you'd have to make sure you're working with clean fibres. So there's a process called scouring, which basically means deep cleaning your fibres, which would mean it would remove any dirt or grease, anything that's been used in the manufacturing process. Sometimes they kind of use certain chemicals that might block the dyes from attaching to the fibres. It's not always necessary to scour your fibres. As you start to play with fabric and understand fibres a bit deeper, you'll kind of figure out when it's necessary, or it depends on what kind of result you're wanting from your dye project. So for example, I work quite a lot with vintage fabrics or vintage clothes, and often I just give them a really good clean in the washing machine, and that's enough. You don't have to do the scouring process, but when it's actually more appropriate to scour when you're using new fabrics, because you don't know what they've had put on them in the manufacturing process. And scouring is a process where you take a big marmite or a big casserole, you put your fibres in some hot water with a scoop of a product called soda ash. There are quantities that you can look up online, but personally I just usually do a scoop, a small teaspoon. Like, for example, if I was scouring these, I'd do like a tablespoon. And then some detergent you'd put in the water as well, and you'd bring the water to a simmer, especially not too hot for things like silk and protein fibres, because they can damage quite easily with heat. But for something like cotton and linen, you could really boil it, and you might see that the water becomes really cloudy and dirty, and you might even want to do it a second time to kind of make sure that everything's left the fabric, and then you would rinse it in warm water. If you rinse it in, for example, if you've boiled the pot of water and then you rinse it in cold water, it doesn't really get rid of all the grease. It will just kind of shock the fabric and the grease will end up sticking. So it's important when you're rinsing your fibres to rinse them with similar temperature water. And there's a slightly different process, like I said, with protein and cellulose fibres. You can be a bit more brutal with your cellulose fibres, and you have to be a bit more delicate and gentle with your silks and your protein fibres. And sometimes, actually, when I'm scouring protein fibres, I would actually not even use soda ash and would just use detergent, like a gentle detergent. It's something that you kind of learn. The more you do it, the more you get a feel for what you need to use. After you've cleaned your fibres really thoroughly, you can then mordant them, which is what we call like fixing the fabric. So that's generally done before you dye your fibres. And there is a different process again for cellulose and plant fibres. There's, for example, if you're using animal fibre, you would use something called alum. Alun, je sais pas si tu connais. And if you're using cellulose fibres, there are quite a few different variations of how you can do it, but my preferred way of mordanting cellulose fibres is to use alum acetate, alum. And then you would use a chalk bath afterwards to kind of fix the fixative to the tissue. When you have mordanted your fibres, fixed your fibres, you can move straight on to dyeing, or you can let them you can store them, and then when you're ready to use them, you can use them at a later date. When you are about to dye your fibres, it's important to have them wet or damp. The silk will be wet immediately when you put it in water, but this would maybe take a little bit longer. So in fact what we're going to do is put these in some water straight away. Actually no, we're not, because it depends what you want to do. So my idea was that on the tote bags that we would do some flour pounding. But if you want to have more of a solid colour, I was also going to create a dye bath. Or we can do everything bundle dye. It's up to you. So you'll let me know in a minute which one you prefer to do. So flour pounding is like when you pound the flowers directly into the fabric. These were wild roses from my garden. I never tried them before, but I tried them this year and they're amazing. Bundle dyeing is what we will be doing on the silk, which is kind of where you put all the plant material in and you'll get like a... Yeah, that's bundle dyed as well. You can get lots of different effects with bundle dyeing. So you might just want to do with one petal and another petal and get two different, completely different results. And then, or a dye bath, which is where you put the whole piece of fabric into a solution, into a vessel, and you'll have a more of a solid colour. Actually, does anyone have any ideas what you might like to do with your tote bags?
I'd like to pound mine.
You'd like to pound yours? Pound, yeah. Yeah, I think everyone's going to want to do that.
Is the silk one for bundle dyeing?
It's for bundle dyeing. You can pound it as well, but the idea was to bundle dye that, but it's up to you. You could bundle dye your tote bag if you want and then pound.
And then pound the other one.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
an option then?
Yeah. These ones, the white ones probably not so much. These will work really well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The petals, you can pound individual petals. These will work as well, and these will work. So, I mean, there are quite a lot of flowers there, but it depends how many pounds you want to do. If there's any samples that you see that you want to ask me questions about or that you like.
I was wondering about this.
So
I love this,
the blue.
And the blue colour.
Okay, so this is a bamboo silk, which is actually a cellulose fibre. So it's not silk, but it's called bamboo silk. So it's a bamboo fibre. And it's bundle dyed with these, scabiosa, fresh ones, I think. Yeah, you can, oh no, maybe they're not fresh ones. These, normally with the fresh ones, you can see the shapes of the petal coming through. You can also pound these petals and they look really cute, like little.
This one is blue?
It comes out kind of greeny blue, depending on what mordant you've used and what fibre you're using as well. And this we don't have today, but it's indigo. And those are pounded leaves of indigo, just for fun. You can also like pound these as well, have some like fun prints.
Is this fun?
Yeah, that is this. Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
And
On
the
silk.
yellow.
The yellow, I think I got some of these and possibly some petals mixed up with it. So you can, with things that work well for dye, you can usually use them dry or fresh. You'll get different results with, I mean, in terms of like textures. For example, these scabiosa, this is these, but dry. So when you sprinkle them on your fabric, you'll get more of a like dot, whereas when you sprinkle these on your fabric, you'll get more of a like petal shape. They're really strong, and sometimes you can use them twice, like you can reuse them. They've got that much colour in them. After, we've got Cosmos, which is a really bright orange, and Fresh, that looks like this. He's there, she's there, if anyone can see.
What, that flower?
That is that.
Okay.
Cosmos, sulphur cosmos it's called. It's really good for flower pounding and dyeing. It's a really lovely colour. And also you can work with dried pressed flowers. I've got these today just for you to play with, but normally I would use these if I was eco-printing, which is a similar technique but slightly different. It's when you kind of have more control about the design of your pattern on the fibre.
So the fresh flowers don't come out as strong as the...
Yes, they do. And like, in fact, I'd say probably stronger. They kind of come quicker and stronger into the fibre.
Okay.
And this one, what is
These are woad seeds. So often it's not always just the plant or the petals or the flowers that give colour. They're not super strong, but they have a similar effect to this, kind of like a grey, bluey kind of colour. I also, maybe I haven't got those today, but some Hopi black sunflower seeds are similar as well. They're kind of the purple flowers. They'll make similar colours to that. Coreopsis. So there's so many varieties of coreopsis. They all work really well. Yellows and oranges. Those are coreopsis as well. Yeah. And then you've got other versions of cosmos, which work really well for flower pounding. They have like a beautiful kind of, when they oxidize, the colours are just amazing. I would say they're not the most colour fast, they won't last forever kind of thing, but they're still just one of my favourites to work.
What do you use on the scrunchie?
So the scrunchie is already made. I would bundle dye it, or you can also put it in the dye bath if you feel like you want to. Dye is chamomile, which these ones I grew in my garden, and you can see the difference. Well, the similarities more like. So they're like big daisies.
Oh, right. Calendula, no.
Chamomile. Dye is chamomile.
Chamomile.
Bright yellow dye, lovely, and they're quite colour fast as well. You can also experiment with the foy, especially with the flower pounding. In fact, it's quite fun doing that. Onion skins are one of my absolute favourites. Bundle dyed onion skins, the textures are amazing. Really potent dye bath as well, like a bright orange, depending on the fabric and the mordant, but usually especially if I've used alum acetate, it's quite a bright orange with these. This is logwood. It's actually weird doing a workshop in English because I keep having all the French words come to my head. This is a bark from a tree, and
From which tree?
I'm not sure if the tree is called logwood. I think it is called logwood, but it's like Brazilian, I think, and it's kind of, again, it's like a bluey, purpley colour, and I definitely have some. Yeah, so the blue kind of speckles.
Oh, lovely.
On that. Yeah, those.
Okay.
And like these little bits here, like purple on the silk.
Okay.
It's really pretty. It's also really strong. Also not known for being the most colour fast, but still that will last a good amount of time. Red onion skins are gorgeous as well. I'm not sure, I think that's probably a red onion skin. They often come out a little bit greener. Sometimes I like to layer the colours. So sometimes I'll put like a red onion skin and an orange onion skin, and maybe I'll put some curcuma, which is bright yellow. And the colours will, like the red onion skin will kind of come out green. So it's like think of it as if you're using paints. You can mix the colours and get some interesting effects and layers as well. Often like herbs and spices can be quite fun to experiment with.
Do you use like spices like saffron? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Yeah.
After that, we've got marigolds, oeillette d'Inde.
Yeah.
Your favorite, your favorite one, although we're not sure. And you have different varieties of those as well, which, you know, if you just sprinkle the petals on, you can get effects like this. Natural dyes are a lot of them are pH sensitive, so you can have some fun with like playing with acidity and alkalinity. So sometimes, for example, the tea towels that we did for the table, I really wanted to show you this because I bundle dyed it with all the flowers, but I did squirt some lemon juice on, and it acts like a bleach, but it's quite pretty for like if you want to have like some texture in your patterns. You can also use citric acid, but that's really, really strong. So you have to be really mindful that you just don't bleach out all your colours. Something I did want to mention, which I forgot about mordanting. If you can't be bothered with mordants and you just want to do something really easy, simple, fun, and if you want to do it with your kids, if you have kids, and you know it's really safe, is soy milk. So the reason that protein fibres tend to take the dyes more easily is because they have they have protein content, and soy milk is very high in protein. And it's not a mordant, it's actually a binder, so it's like a glue that will help the colour stick, but it's not a permanent reaction. So it's more like you're painting on a layer of protein to help your fibres absorb the colours more easily, but it's not a chemical reaction. And it's really cool because you can literally just paint it onto fabric, or you can soak your fabric in a big bucket of soy milk, let it dry, and then dampen it out when you're ready to dye it, and you'll have really beautiful results. They won't be as vibrant as if you use the metal salt mordants like alum and aluminium acetate, but they're still really fun. Like I still have some, like I have a top that I dyed with onion skins maybe 5 years ago. It's completely ruined now, but the colour's still amazing. I've washed it so many times. I've given up on like washing it by hand and stuff like that, but the colour is still like, it's not vibrant orange, but it's like a really muted, lovely brown. So, you know, it depends what kind of result you're going for. But it's something interesting to note if you want to just like have some quick fun in the kitchen with the kids or by yourself. And these are like maybe 5 years old as well, and they're dyed with avocado stones. So that is a really nice like pink.
Soaked in soy milk?
Yeah, so painted. I literally just painted the stripes
In soy milk.
in soy milk. Really simple.
And you dyed it before with something
Afterwards.
else?
Afterwards.
Okay.
So you put it in the.
Oh, so
in the-
kind of, yeah.
So
like
once
a tie and dye, but
Yeah,
with-
exactly.
Okay.
Like a paint. That's soy milk as well. The texture that I painted on that silk. Just little blobs of soy milk.
Oh yeah.
And that is dyed with vervain, which is the tea that we were talking about, which makes quite a lovely yellow. Oh, greeny yellow now. Also, we have some extracts and powders. This is madder, which is Garance, and it's local to this area. Like it's quite famous, this area for madder. It's what they use to create a deep red dye. It's a really good colour fastness. It's known for that. Personally, I prefer to use it for its pinks, and all you need to do for that is have less of a concentration of the colour. We also have cochineal and lac, which are two little bugs that create beautiful pinks and reds as well. I've realised apparently they have them on the lemon trees in France. My friend told me the other day. They normally live on cactuses, so they're like a invasive pest, and people will just go and scrape the bugs off and then grind them up and use them. Sounds a bit brutal, but this is it. This is cochineal. Also really, really strong. If you're going to use this, then you don't want to do what I did with one of my samples. This one. I put way too much on there, and it's like a big blob.
Yeah.
I like it, but maybe you want to be a bit more subtle if you're using that for bundle dyeing.
This is a mix of the imprint and the
So this is not flower pounding, this is actually eco printing. So it's the technique that I was telling you about earlier, which is similar to bundle dyeing, but it's actually where you create your pattern and you have like a plastic barrier or some kind of barrier which stops the colours from bleeding through. And then you get to kind of control how your design looks on the fabric. It's a little bit trickier because you have to make sure that the fabric is humid enough but not too humid, because you don't want your colours to run, and you have to make sure that it's rolled really, really tight. And it's a bit hit and miss, I find, sometimes, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes easier and easier. This I wanted to show you is really cool because here I use citric acid in my bundle to create these like marbling. This I've dyed pink with Garance or madder, and then I've bundle dyed cochineal and logwood over the top, and that means you can the pink.
Is it that?
The cochineal is the bug,
Yeah,
the insect.
Yeah.
Also have this. What is this? I can't remember. Coreopsis. So another version of these. They're kind of like a deep browny orange, which are quite nice. Also have some roses and some fresh willl. They're slightly different varieties, but that's the same family. There's one more thing I'm going to mention now, but we'll probably talk about it more when we get to the end of the workshop. Sometimes it's quite nice to use ferrous sulfate to modify the colours of your bundle dye. These socks were dyed at the same time with willl, with marigolds. And if you use a bath of ferrous sulfate, you can modify the colours to kind of, they call it saddening the colours, so they'll be more like greys, greens, browns. The good thing about ferrous sulfate is, or iron, as it kind of we call it, is that it's an extra kind of fixative mordant, so the colours will last a bit longer.
Which is quite good on your feet.
Yes, it is good on your feet because sometimes on your socks you need to wash quite a lot. Some people are very strict about their rules with the natural dye. I'm not like that at all. I can't work like that. I don't enjoy working like that. I like to see whatever the dyes want to give me. If you're like that, that's really cool also. Like, have a lot of respect for people who can be really, really like strict on how they do all the measurements, but it's not my way of working. Well, I'm going to do one, or we are going to do one colour, and I kind of thought we could do either madder or we could do onion skins. So orange or pink, basically, are your choices.
Okay.
Pink?
Pink?
Yeah, okay.
So, there's something different. I'm sorry. I'm the pink.
Yeah, no, I'm very pink. So we're going to do this first because it will need a bit of time to kind of, normally I would give it longer than we have today, but we're just going to go with the flow. Of course, I'm not going to measure anything. The good thing about madder as well is that you can do a bath, and then you can do an exhaust bath, which is when you reuse it again and you'll get a slightly lighter shade, but it's still really beautiful. If you wanted red, you'd have to use a lot more, and there's some other tricks and tips to get a true red as well, but as I prefer pink.
It just looks very perfect.
Yeah, it is. And also a really fun thing is you start to get to know all the smells. Like if you try an avocado dye bath, it's a really distinct smell. And now when I do an avocado dye bath, it takes me back, you know, like what sometimes when smells give you nostalgia. I'm just going to pour this into the dye bath and, oops, or not, miss it. And I'm just going to stir it at the same time because to try and make a paste. You can do this in a much more efficient way by using a smaller pot, but I'm just going to do it like this. Voila. Then I'm going to fill this kind of halfway up with water, and we're going to just put it on a low heat to simmer on the hob while we do the rest of the workshop. So I don't know if anyone would like to smell this, but it's a really distinct smell. It's almost disgusting, but normally in my workshops we spray the silk to get it humid. You don't really want it too wet because, well, sometimes it can be a really nice effect, but the colours can kind of run a bit more. But it's so hot today, I think we're going to dump it in the water and just give it a really good squeeze out because the silk does dry really quickly. Doesn't matter if it gets a bit too dry, we can squirt it again after. The only thing when you're squirting it, you just don't, and you've got your flowers on there, when you squirt sometimes it can move the flowers and the petals, so you just be careful when you do that. Or we can just run it under the tap once you've rolled your bundle, so don't panic if it's not feeling perfect. But if everyone would like to come and just dip their silk in the water and then give it a good squeeze out.
Is it okay that I take the switch now and go for this one with
You want to do, yeah, of course, yeah.
and this one with the bundle?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this one, maybe go and run it under the hot tap so it gets really nice and wet, and then give it a really good squeeze. So I'm saying hot because it like kind of penetrates the fabric a bit deeper. Yeah, and just like get it as wet as possible and then really squeeze it out afterwards.
Oh, I know where. So I just put it here.
Yeah, just make sure you've got enough space to hold out. It's okay if you're overlapping a tiny bit. I mean, just leave it. No.
Sorry.
Okay, guys on this end, just maybe it's drying already in the sun, so it's okay though. We're not going to panic. I'll just give it a dip afterwards. You can also get creative, like rip the flowers apart. You can cut them with scissors. You can cut little shapes out of onion skins. You can pull these flowers apart, use the petals. Get creative. Do whatever you feel like you want to do. If you want to use a stick, you need to do it on just half of your silk so that you can then fold it over. So for example, you might want to do stripes. So maybe you could do a stripe of onion skins, a stripe of logwood, a stripe of cosmos, a stripe of marigolds, and then you can fold it over and you can roll up your stick and you'll have stripes. Make sure you go right to the middle because you don't want a white stripe in the middle. Or you can do your pattern and then you roll it up afterwards and you can make a snail or a sausage and we just bundle it like that. Or you can scrunch it up and tie it however you want. Or you can scrunch it up before you start putting your things down and then you can roll it up later. It's really however you feel. The good thing about bundle dyeing is it's always a surprise. It's never the same. And yeah, you can, the thing is it's quite nice. I find it really therapeutic to just throw the petals on and I find it quite meditative. Some people really like to make a really delicate mandala. That's part of the art. And then it isn't a mandala afterwards. Also, if you want to maybe squirt some lemon on, that's cool. Remember, I've got these powders for pink. It kind of bleaches out certain areas. So where you've dropped the juice will kind of bleach out. Sometimes it will just brighten the colours. it will shift the colours. Pinks, I've got some spoons here, and I've got rubber gloves if anyone feels like they want to wear rubber gloves. I doubt it, but you might want to. These can be quite sticky on your fingers, so you want to use a tiny little bit, like the end of a spoon, and then just shake it on. We also have weld, which is like a yellowy colour, so that's an extract as well, which works quite nicely.
Okay. Marguerite and mine. Together.
Parce que... Non mais tu sais, t'as pas de... Quand t'as jamais expérimenté, tu ne sais pas ce que ça peut donner. Donc, gna 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 gna.
Yeah, just try and see.
Du blue.
You want bluesies?
Ouais.
I like the bluesies and the pinkies.
Bluesies and
The blue, the pink, and
yes. Try some roses as well. It might get a bit of kind of pinky.
You're not making anything?
No,
From
I
that,
don't think she has
possibly.
enough
Have you made before?
just to have like some idea.
Oh,
Yeah. I did one of her first workshops. She gave it. She had something. Yeah.
That's your.
Okay. And these are.
Is it lavender?
C'est un mélange mixed two.
Cocktails.
So maybe I should use this for the dressing.
Dans ce sens-là ou
The bag, or you could even like put it in the middle, and then if you just, but you shouldn't be using really this. But you just take the petals off and you put it like you.
Yeah, I love it. It's so pretty.
Ça c'est pinky pink. C'est.
Would you just take a little
So
bit
I'll
with
get you
your
a
fingers,
spoon.
or-
I think.
well, that's
Yeah.
the garlic.
Like you can use this spoon after. I did have another one somewhere.
Ah mais c'est pas mal cette tireuse. Ouais. Gna, gna, gna.
And there's also, you can try, those are not dye flowers really. I mean the yellow ones are and the sabiosa are, but you can try.
It's not working.
You know what you could do also? Did you put lemon on that already?
Ouais, moi je
Yeah.
prends du lemon parce qu'en fait là.
The lemon will help it go really pink.
Oh, that's what
Like this.
Yeah, I could do with some of that.
There's also yellowy.
I don't want
some
any yellow. Is this, should I have a flat?
Yeah.
Because it's so thick.
I'm going to. When you roll it up,
Yeah.
then put it on top of this because otherwise you're going to have a big blank space. And then put some on here, and then we'll bundle it in this, if that makes sense.
Okay.
If you feel like
Plusieurs
it.
lemons.
Comme tu
Should I
veux.
just sprinkle them on?
Just give it a little roll up like that.
Un peu vert, je crois.
And then probably do maybe a snail,
Okay,
as tight as possible.
nice.
I might just take a bit of this.
Ah mais je.
They're moving.
Yeah, is that tight enough? Or?
Yeah, it's fine. Maybe give it a little squirt as you're going along with water.
Une petite fleur prise dans la soie. Et alors attends. On roule comme ça du coup.
Yeah, like a
Alex is instructing
on
them.
a
You've seen it so many times.
l'assistante. Et là on
once-
fait un petit cinnamon
Once
roll.
you've made a little snail, you're gonna kind of bundle it up like this.
Jag tror männen är väldigt torra där.
Bundle dyeing is using steam, so I'm just going to fill this up with water to about here. I'm going to put my thing in, whatever that is, sieve, colander, and I'm going to put it in there, put the heat on, put the lid on, and then we're going to put our bundles in. Okay, so we're just going to put them into the steamer,
Okay.
unofficial. You can do it yourself or I can do it for you. Oh yeah, beautiful. Oops, pardon. Is that on? Just gonna put them in.
Watch out for your feet. Don't get burnt.
Put your one in the bottom actually. Some of these colours probably will catch onto the other people's work, but that's going to be fine. Should we put yours just there? We took a little break while our bundles were steaming to chat and answer some questions. Dominique and Charlotte prepared some delicious snacks for us to enjoy under the cherry tree, and I poured us some non-alcoholic French bloom bubbly, quenching our thirst from all the creativity happening in the workshop. I'm wondering if I'm going to remember whose is whose.
Oh, maybe we would.
Okay, so Nora's is a bit different because she did her tote bag, so this is going to be interesting. Oh la la!
Wow.
C'est très chaud. Oui, en fait, c'est trop chaud. It's too hot for you?
No, it's okay.
Yay.
Oh my goodness!
So, look at the sides.
So nice.
Wow. It's amazing.
Wow.
And you can see on this side, it was a bit wetter, or I think it was because of it was on the outside, maybe this bit.
Is probably outside,
Yeah.
but less.
Yeah, it's gone a bit more kind of watercolory, whereas here it's more printy.
Oh wow! Oh.
Oh yes, it's really beautiful.
Wow.
And look, she did manage to keep some of her like kind of pattern separate. Diagonal. Oh,
J'ai essayé de mettre les couleurs.
yeah, so beautiful.
Fantastic. Wow.
Oh yeah, hold it up.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow.
It's like a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
So you used a lot of cochineal, lavender, pink you wanted,
Yeah.
didn't you?
I really wanted the white to also come into play. Just throw that. I love it.
Oh wow.
Oh, I love it.
Look at that, you've got a flower.
Oh, that's something like I imagined.
Wow.
Wow.
And look, you have a flower showing through as well.
It's beautiful.
Wow. That is so beautiful.
So nice.
Stunning.
I didn't think there was going to be yellow, but there is.
I think that's maybe from
roses.
C'est beau.
yeah, from the roses. Oh yeah. Beautiful.
Bah ça c'est vraiment mon caca de paille quoi. My beautiful paille.
Tu veux dire on the other side? That's this.
Oh yeah.
Voila. It's like a firework.
Yeah, right.
It's beautiful. And all the little orange petals.
Yeah. Oh yeah, what was the orange petals?
It's the yellow.
Oh
flower.
yeah. And I put them and they just okay.
Starting for my mask.
Nice.
So I'm like,
And you have a flower there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I put some.
And there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one is.
We're going for purple. Oh yeah.
Oh là là.
Did you put lemon on it? I think that might be lemon. You did, and there. And you have a flower there as well, in amongst the deepness. So vibrant.
Hyper beau.
Ah ouais.
Très foncé et tout, c'est vraiment beau.
le rouge là.
Are you a professional?
Gorgeous.
Genre le bois de campèche et tout. Et après j'allais chercher et on faisait des tests en fait avec ce qui marchait.
Oh yeah, the onion skins have worked really well. Oh, I love it.
C'était aussi, ça les
Wow.
So that's amazing. So the onion skins have got like green with a hint of red in there.
So that's the red onions.
Yeah, and look, yeah, there. They've gone kind of yellow there, I think, but because they've had other stuff on top of them, and they're kind of red there.
Might have been the cactus flower.
The magic cactus flower.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Voila. And just kind of rub it and froth it a little bit. Be careful if you've got a lot of cochineal. You want to rinse it really carefully that the cochineal doesn't start staining the white bit. So rinse it first, try and get the cochineal out.
With the
Cold water, and then add a little bit of soap and froth. So we can do yours in the bathroom. And also the idea with soap is that the colours attach to the soap. So you want to use quite a bit of soap to catch the colours. Yeah, and then just kind of give it a squish and a rinse until the colour, until it kind of runs clear. I'll give you a bit of soap. Voila.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So now everyone has finished the bundle dyeing workshop on their silk, and we're all just playing. We're doing some flower pounding. We've got a dye vat on the go, well, a kind of immersion dye pot of madder. So some people are doing some pink dyeing, and yeah, everyone's just going to have fun and experiment now. This whole weekend retreat was perfect. We put our all into it, and it really paid off. This was the first retreat we have ever hosted, and honestly, I'm not sure we could have made it any better. The participants were perfect, each bringing their uniqueness to the group, and I feel we all connected deeply. We all shared and felt safe to do so, and of course we all cried at the end. Thank you all so much for being there. I will cherish this experience forever and ever.